Well, it was a weekend defined by own goals. And so we had to bring Joel on to talk about one of them. This is Red Card Radio. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're listening from. Thanks for tuning in. Red Card Radio is a weekly look at the Premier League. This week it's four friends who support different clubs. My name is James. I support Arsenal. Up top, welcome back, Brad. He supports Chelsea. Down below Brad is Sean. He supports Tottenham. And with us tonight is Joel. He supports Tottenham Hotspurs. Not Tottenham Hotspurs. He supports Newcastle. Sorry. I'll tell you why I did that.
What?
Because I realized I pressed record on the podcast and the box that you're in had Sean's Twitter handle on it as well. And so I was quickly deleting that, the Whiteheart _Sean. And I was like, oh, Tottenham Whiteheart. And so, no, Joel supports Newcastle. I apologize, Joel. Hello. Now that I've insulted you, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, fella. Thank you. Appreciate you having me on. It's an occasion to be a Newcastle fan, so I'm looking forward to talking about it.
It's been a week for you guys, and it's been a few more than just a week, which we will, I think, ultimately get into. But before we dig into too much tonight, if you could hit that subscribe button, ring the sub notification bell if you're on YouTube, if you're on one of the podcast sites, send a follow, 5-star review, whatever your platform so allows. We do really appreciate everybody tuning in last week and listening and all that stuff. That really does help us out tremendously. So just thank you for that. And watch to the end and send it to your friends and tell them if you think this is any good. But we wanted to, we like to have Joel, we like to have you come on when there's big-ish Newcastle stuff or Newcastle is playing one of our teams. And this seemed like the right occasion because it was the first Tyne-Wear derby in the Premier League since 2016, if I am remembering what I said last week.
Almost
properly.
10 years.
Yeah.
Almost 10 years.
That one in 2016 ended in a 1-1 draw. And ultimately Sunderland were relegated that season. And this one did not end in a draw. It ends 1-0 to Sunderland at the Stadium of Light with, I'll be honest, Voltemata's goal was fantastic. It was a supremely impressive header just into the wrong goal.
Yeah, no, it was a good header. Yeah.
Right.
It was a shame. Yeah, nothing much to say. Good header. No, Newcastle. I'll be honest. My summary of the game: Newcastle were terrible, and we have been terrible away from home every single away game except for Everton, which was a strange. We won that one comfortably, but every other away game has been awful. Don't score goals away from home. Never looked like scoring. But to be honest, it was a really bad game. I don't think Sunderland. They were way more up for it, but they weren't good. They weren't like threatening to score a load of goals. It was a pretty low quality game. Neither team looked particularly good, but Sunderland looked better.
Before you leave that point about playing away games, I have a proposal for you that is a very quick yes or no answer. When it is time for Newcastle to play at Tottenham, would you be okay if we just played it at St. James?
I don't know. Would you be all right with that? We're a lot better at home than away.
Yeah. Oh, yep.
Wait. I know we wanted to continue on the Newcastle game, Sean, but weren't you guys away this weekend?
That's irrelevant. I'm just asking, can we play away games all the time? Because we're not any good at home. So, yes, would you like to play 2 games at St. James this year?
History shows home to Tottenham is quite a favourable game for us. Yes, I'll hedge my bets on that one.
All right, yeah. I'll take it. I'll take it too.
So,
yeah.
If you set aside this specific result and we kind of think about Newcastle on the season so far, sitting not terribly far off the pace at this moment for the Champions League qualification, but there's a million teams between you and fourth, as Newcastle are in 12th right now. into the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup, which is happening right now as you're listening to this. So if you're in America, you can watch that, I think, on Paramount Plus. And so you can check it there. And they've got Fulham starting in about 10 minutes. If you're watching this exactly when this releases at 3 p.m.
Which you should be.
And assuming that I upload it and release it on time. And that's really the actual important aspect. Okay, but not necessarily performing to the level that you would want to in the league. You are in the top 24 of the Champions League right now, so you do look like you will qualify in the Champions League. So that's important. You could be back to another semifinal. Like where are you at this point in the season on Newcastle's season holistically?
It's been bad. I mean, if Newcastle don't beat Fulham right now, as you're listening, if we don't get to the semi-finals or even the final of the cup again, like if we're just being honest, we're not going to win the Champions League. We may do a run, quarterfinals, maybe, I don't know. But Al could be in a little bit of trouble without a trophy this year if we don't finish in the top 4 or 5. And to be honest, we don't press like we used to. Newcastle were known under Howe in those first few seasons, of just being a hard pressing team that get at you, that don't stop running. You don't see that from this team anymore, and I don't know what's going on. It was a really depressing. It's been a pretty depressing season, but we've looked great at home, under the lights. So I expect nothing. I expect Newcastle to show up against Fulham, and I expect us to win. But I expected us to lose against Sunderland. It was just one of those things.
I have another holistic question.
You go, Sean.
That I'd like to expand upon the holistic, and then I'm taking it a layer out. So holistically, when the PFP invested in you guys, they injected a lot of money really quickly with Trippier and Bruno and all of it was all at once, and it seemed untenable at the beginning. And then they chilled out. They had to get the books right. All right. And then they're working on a lot of things behind the scenes. But there hasn't been in the past, I don't know, 2.5 years, there hasn't been a lot of investment, overt investment. There's been a buy here, a buy here, there.
Do you mean there hasn't been flashy investment?
I wouldn't say flashy, but like not even smart investments. Well, Voltamata was a smart investment, but there hasn't been there hasn't been a lot of additions to. All right, so you got a good core, and you've stuck to it, but there hasn't been okay, all right. Well, so this isn't working, so let's put this piece in, and it doesn't have to be a flashy like it was at the beginning, but there hasn't been a lot of additions. Does that seem to be lacking? Where you thought this would never end, the spending spree would never end. Now that we have unending money.
Yeah, I mean, the summer window was weird because it was, overshadowed by Isak leaving, massively because it was just the saga of it. But Newcastle actually spent pretty well. I mean, Malik Chow at the back, he's been really good.
Oh yeah.
Voltamata he's been pretty good. He's scored a few goals this year. Elanga's been so bad though. Like he's just. I think it's a good example of like you didn't sign the wrong player. He just doesn't fit the system. Like he was great at Forest.
Yes,
it's just not working at Newcastle.
Yeah.
He's not a bad player, but he's just not performing. So I don't know. I really don't know about the recruitment. I don't know.
I think the spending. I think the spending aspect is more down to the PSR rules that exist in today's modern Premier League as compared to when City were bought out and when Chelsea were bought out. And like it's just a different world now where you can't just come in and spend unlimited money because of the rules that were set up to stop that.
Well, it felt like it at the beginning, right? Like it did feel like, oh my gosh, they're gonna.
But then you saw 2 years later, David Ornstein was reporting that Newcastle were in serious issues with breaching PSR, and they had to make a bunch of moves, right? And so this is the 3-year running cost cap stuff that You know,
Well,
you
maybe
could
they make a splash. Maybe they make a splash in January because they have, unfortunately for them, they have the 120 whatever it was for Isak that they weren't able to spend because they ran out of time because Isak took so long. So maybe
It's
they've
more.
got that in the bank.
I think that's more unfortunate for Liverpool that Isak signing. For us, I mean, we'll take the money. I mean, yeah, maybe Newcastle can spend in January a little. They kind of need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I meant.
They-
Is that you've got that, and you ran out of time to spend it in the summer transfer. But maybe that makes January a little bit more spicy because you've got that on the books to be able to maneuver within that 120. Or well, Voltamata and Diallo. They
Well, the
took
other
some
issue
money too.
the other issue Newcastle are going to have is if we don't get Champions League, don't win a trophy this year, Tonali probably head out the door. Don't blame him. Head out the door. Wouldn't blame him. Like all these are top players. Why wouldn't they leave? And I wouldn't hold anything against them for leaving. I don't know. It's been a really rubbish season.
Yeah. Well, sorry, James. I took it a little bit kind of top down, and you were asking a little bit more specific to the season. What did you want to bring it back down?
No, I don't think so. I think that's perfectly reasonable direction to take that conversation because Newcastle. I mean, we were having this conversation 3 or 4 years ago about how long would it take for Newcastle to just perennially be in the top 4 and be championship contenders, and I think my pushback was just that because it's a big fish going into a pond full of other big fishes, and so it's not like it was the money that PIF brings to the table is not able to be utilized in the same way that Abramovich's money was able to be brought to the table, the Qataris, and so it's just a different world, and so Newcastle are navigating that. Clearly, I think they're going in the right direction. I mean, you can't really. Mike Ashley was a tremendously bad owner, and so clearly the Saudis are a upgrade over him in terms of like sporting ambition, but they're just hamstrung by the rules.
I think the only way they see, and this is just opinion, Joel, so you can correct me if I am wrong, but I think the only way that you see like a sharp turnaround in this regard of the money being spent is if the Newcastle Academy start producing world-class player after world-class player, like the academy starts producing where the facilities are enough that they attract X, Y, and Z player at 14, 15, 16 that just are infused into the team like they are at Cobham, at Arsenal, at Tottenham, at Liverpool, at Manchester United, and then and I'm not calling the past Newcastle Academy trash. I'm just saying like that's what the money that is not on the books brings in.
Well, the problem is when you have a player that comes to the academy like that, is especially when you're battling the rules, is it's so attractive to sell them because it's pure profit.
Yeah.
Like Elliot Anderson for Newcastle, he's now at Forest. Like, such a good player, but he was academy, and
they're talking 70, 80. Yes, Newcastle or Nottingham are looking at 70, 80, $90 million transfer for that.
Yeah, exactly. So like when you got a player that comes to the academy, like Lewis Miley could be another one. He looks like he's going to be a really good player, but he's the academy. It'd be really attractive to Newcastle to sell him down the line for 50, 60 million one day if someone wants to pay that for him. It's pure profit.
Yeah, that's all Cobham does.
Hey, look, either you make it in the team or you don't, and if you don't, then yes, you're profit. Like, it's ruthless to an extent, right, of your academy, but like, it's what it's.
I mean, football is a ruthless business, so like, let's not.
Right, like why are we going to pretend? Like,
the only chagrin that Sean has towards Cobham is when you claim Cobham when the kid never played for Chelsea. And that's his only point in bringing that up.
Yeah.
In the same vein,
Hey,
if you played for Arsenal and you left on good terms, I refer to you as an Arsenal legend. So like I did the same thing you did.
I think the thing I was thinking when James was talking was the high tide raises all boats, but raises all ships, but it's also raising boats. Like so, and what I mean by that is like the high tide raises all the big ships too, but it's also raising the Bournemouth, the Brighton, it's also raising everyone.
Yeah.
And so that's where the PIF gets washed out, or assumingly washed out.
Here's my question, because I haven't kept up, but like since Ashworth left, who has filled that role at Newcastle, right? Like, is there somebody that's like helping or doing that? Because I don't know what the football people look like over there right now.
I don't think there is someone in that position.
And I think that might be like one of the problems, right? Because like you
probably.
Probably. But I think we're getting maybe. I don't necessarily think Newcastle's issues right now are recruitment, because to Joel's point, they recruited as well as they could over the summer, but the issue is the playing style right now. I wonder. You were saying that like they used to be a hard pressing team in your face. I just wonder like if after a time that's difficult to maintain season after season after season, especially in today's modern world where the players who are playing at the highest level get maybe 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks off in the summer before they're back, whether with their international. These players are just playing so many games, and at a certain point, the legs go.
But then that's up to Eddie Howe then to adapt a playing style and do something that have a different playing style that's going to get results. Unfortunately,
agreed.
Playing style right now is neither fast-paced, attacking in your face, or getting results. Yeah. So it's kind of a lose-lose right now for us. Like I said, if Newcastle lose to Fulham and then we've got Chelsea after that, if we don't beat Chelsea at home, I seriously think Howe's he should be worried going into the new year because why would they?
Fair enough. I won't argue on that, although I disagree. I won't argue on that. That is the natural question. Who would you prefer to have? Because
I'm not saying anyone I prefer. I'm telling you, I think the reality is Howe could be in trouble. I don't know who would be out there, who I would want.
Because that's
Pep Guardiola.
That's the natural question, though. Is okay? So you fire your manager. Who is better? It's Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle, Tottenham on this podcast. Who is better than what we currently have?
Than me, no one.
No. Yeah, well,
like I'm happy with my manager too.
That's the general question of okay, so you fire Eddie Howe. Let's just play out the scenario. You fire Eddie Howe, and let's just say for the sake of the argument that you hire interim to the end of the season. Who is going to be better than what you have been over the last few seasons? That's the tough question.
Mikel Arteta.
No, you know what? I have a name, and he likes Newcastle apparently. Jose.
Oh God. No, you do not want that. You do not want that.
Why not? You win with Jose. They have the defenders.
You just fire him right before a final. You fire him right before a final. That's
what the Spurs do. That's not what every team does. But speaking of,
but Joel, who is better? Who would be the ideal Newcastle manager?
Oh, you're asking me like realistically or like Joel's dream?
Well, actually both. Yeah, I like both. I want both here.
Well, who wouldn't want Pep Guardiola managing their team, right? Like,
okay, so that's best case scenario. All right.
And that's not going to happen. But
okay,
I don't know. Sure, honestly, I don't know. I don't know who's available. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying I want Howe. I'm not saying I want Howe to go. I like him. I think he could be in trouble if we lose to Fulham and then we lose to Chelsea and then we get knocked out the Champions League in the playoff round. Like, why wouldn't you be in trouble?
I definitely think you would be.
Well, you're in a better. The reason I asked the question, Joel, was not to put you on the spot. It's Tottenham are in a similar situation, and and we're actually in a worse situation because you've had Howe for a few years, and we have been cycling through managers, and there's a sentiment of Frank out. So I guess this is a natural transition. Of Frank out. Okay, all right. So we fire Frank. Who's now going to want to come to Tottenham? Because we fired like 3, 4, 5, 6 managers in the last 4 years. Like who wants to even be here? We're not going to hire anybody worth a gosh darn.
Well, and I think every manager is saying the same thing. That like, yo, like this isn't like a 3-month project, 6-month project to turn around Tottenham.
Well, this is the same thing that Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho were saying about United.
Correct.
United.
You know,
we're seeing, and Amarim's on the hot seat now too. Again, apparently,
I don't see how he can be, but
no,
they're
actually doing good.
I think that's a legitimate question. Is that, and I think it would be very short sighted for Tottenham to sack Frank.
Okay, yeah, okay, Frank out. Okay, who's in? Like, what are we doing? Who's in?
Well, I think what you have, because your new CEO is Vinay, right? He's the ex-Arsenal CEO, and he was involved.
So we're being infiltrated.
Yes, exactly. We're gonna slowly
sabotage.
Stan Kroenke's gonna come and buy Tottenham here shortly, and liquidate the assets. No. So the point I was gonna make about him is that I think that I saw a report maybe the other day about how the Tottenham board were inclined to give Thomas Frank more time. And I think that kind of tracks with what he did when he was at Arsenal, is that he gave Arteta time. The Arsenal board gave Arteta time, maybe when Arteta didn't deserve it. I mean, like, we all remember that graphic of the 10-game run for Arsenal, and it was like 7 losses, 2 draws, and 1 win, or whatever it was. Like,
so to bring it back to like review, right? Tottenham lost 3-0 at City Stadium in Nottingham. It was not pretty, not good.
Was it even close? Like what was the what's the vibes check on that game?
The vibes check was there was at no point during that game it was like the Arsenal game. There was at no point during that game that I feel like we were going to like get back into this.
Interesting.
We had a couple of chances. There actually was a couple of chances, and I think one time we hit the back of the net, but we're offsides. So there were some things that happened that were not like, unlike the Arsenal game. The Arsenal game, there was no even thought that there was going to be something positive that happened.
No signs.
At least there were some. There were signs of life in the Nottingham game, but no, and Nottingham Forest's second goal was a cross from Hudson-Odoi, Cobham legend, by the way. Just I got it out of the way before Brad hit it.
Thank you, Cobham legend.
Hudson-Odoi just crossed it, and Vicario just lost it in the mix, and it just goes into the goal.
That wasn't even Vicario's biggest issue, because the first goal.
The first goal was putting Gray in an impossible situation.
Yes.
And maybe Gray should be better.
No.
But he's also 19 years old. But you put him in an impossible situation where a player's bearing down on him. He has got to make a turn one way or another. He picks the wrong way, gets picked, and it's boom, right into the goal.
That was an awful decision by Vicario to
and that's Vicario's. That's Vicario's mistake.
Are you Vicario out?
No. No, he's one of the best shot stoppers we've ever had.
I'm just asking because apparently that's a big thing. It's like the summertime, y'all are moving on. That's what I heard.
The only way I'll be Vicario out is if Kinski was incredibly good with the ball at his feet. When Vicario was out and we had to rely on Kinski, he's good with the ball at his feet. Is really good corners, like getting out, using his body to block balls, and it's very physical, which are all the things that Vicario lacks in. So if he has over the last 9 months to 12 months, if Kinski has become a good shot stopper through training at Tottenham, then maybe we pivot that way, and we've just already got our next goalkeeper.
Well, let me ask you this line of questioning. When Aaron Ramsdale was the goalkeeper at Arsenal, he was very good for Arsenal, right?
Yeah.
He occasionally had a blunder or a mistake here or there, right?
Yeah.
And before Aaron Ramsdale was Emi Martinez, right? And I think we would all agree that Emi Martinez is maybe the best shot stopper in the world, next to maybe Donnarumma.
Yep.
It's probably like
possibly.
in terms of
like
current shot stoppers, you'd probably put Emi Martinez and Donnarumma at the top of that list. Maybe Thibaut Courtois.
At that time,
Courtois.
De Gea.
But
De Gea is one of the best shot stoppers of all time. Yeah.
But Arsenal continually elevated their position with goalkeeper, and then when Ramsdale's at the top of his game for Arsenal, they go out and they buy David Raya, which at the time I was upset about, but actually turned out to be an upgrade. Like there was a ruthless approach to that position, and I think what you're saying seems to be a little too passive, because if Vicario is not that guy, then you got to go get somebody who can do it. And maybe I'm speaking from like a porcelain throne here or something. I don't know. Like like the way I'm presenting this is like, I didn't know that David Raya was as good as he is when we got him. And so like, you don't necessarily know what you're going to get when you go spend money on a goalkeeper necessarily. And so it's entirely possible that Arsenal had signed David Raya and he wasn't better than Aaron Ramsdale, and they just spent £40 million on someone who's not an upgrade. But it did work out, and Arteta and co seem to have been very ruthless in their pursuit of getting the goalkeeper that they needed. And Vicario he reminds me a little bit of Aaron Ramsdale in the sense that he makes
a lot of mental mistakes.
Yes, and that's exactly who Aaron Ramsdale is, who I think is a great goalkeeper, but he makes too many small mistakes that turn into big problems. Why? I want to know why you're smiling, Joel.
I was going to ask you. Go ahead.
All I'm thinking is just having this conversation is I'm thinking Aaron Ramsdale is an upgrade on Nick Pope, because Nick Pope makes so many mistakes and Aaron Ramsdale is so much more consistent. And here you are, like, Ramsdale makes mistakes. I'm thinking, yeah, but we have Nick Pope who makes way more. So give me Ramsdale.
Well, I was going to bring you in, Joel. I was going to bring you into this conversation by asking, so if you have seen Vicario over the years, you know he makes incredible saves that probably shouldn't be made, but he's one that makes them. But he makes mistakes. So you have, if this were Newcastle and you have this goalkeeper, which you know can dominate the box, can distribute with his feet, but the shot stopping, there wasn't enough games because we bought him in January. Vicario did his ACL in like September or something, so there wasn't enough games that Vicario ended up coming back before we could really see what Kinski was up to. Would you make the jump to see if Kinski can maybe do it, given that he has the other parts of the game that Vicario lacks in?
Yeah, because Vicario is, you don't know what you're going to get. You need the position you need the most consistency in is your goalie. And if, like, Nick Pope, Eddie Howe to a fault is loyal, and he'll bring Nick Pope back in when he's fit. I don't think he should. I think Aaron Ramsdale is much more consistent than Nick Pope, and I think you need a goalie. If Kinski's more consistent than Vicario, then you need that. I think that a goalie out of all the positions is the one who you need consistency, and you know what you're going to get 9 times out of 10. So that's why I'm like Ramsdale over Pope right now. So I think Spurs probably should be the same.
And then I know we're going long, but I want to ask a quick question to the group. But like confidence wise, so you tell Vicario now, he's been starting for 2.5 years. You tell Vicario now, we're sitting you down, we're going to trust Kinski. Does that ruin his confidence? He's done. He's done.
No.
Like, if you set him down, he's done at Tottenham.
Probably.
Well, because the problem is the media circus that they live in, and they'd come up to
Yeah.
Thomas Frank after the game and they say, "Now Vicario's on the bench today, and you decided to go with the 19-year-old Kinski in goal. Can you tell us about
He's
that?"
older, but
Oh, I thought he was 18 last year. So, but they'd be like, "Oh, can you tell us about that?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, well, we're just trying to, pick the best player." It's the same thing that happened to Ramsdale at Arsenal in the last year, where Arteta's like, if I could make a goalkeeper substitution for certain situations, I would, and and then he's talking about how it's you're gonna kill that goalkeeper, and the problem's gonna be is when Kinski's not good, and you have to bring Vicario back, and it's just like,
yeah.
yeah. So I don't.
Just
But yes, you
Just
kill.
think tank. I was just think tanking.
You do big damage to Vicario and the relationship between Vicario. Now maybe that's salvaged by sacking the manager, and you bring a new manager in, and the new manager's like, "Yeah, Vicario's my guy," and then Vicario's like, "Yeah, I always was the guy." But
anything you want to say about Wolves scoring 3 goals and losing?
I thought we were 30 minutes in, and I thought we were gonna somehow sneak out.
I just wanted you to address it before we leave.
Dang.
I will address it by saying Wolves scored 3 goals. Technically, yes. But Saka, erroneously, I believe, has been credited with 2 assists. And so they gave Saka assists for both the own goals, which is objectively funny. The first one I think was off the corner, and there's nothing the goalkeeper can do about that. The second one was a good cross, and Gabby Jesus was in a really good position, and he would have headed it if the
And it went off somebody's face, right?
Yeah, the Wolves player. Unfortunate for him. No, I mean, yeah, Arsenal were terrible on Saturday. It was maybe the worst game I've seen them play this year. Maybe. Out of sorts.
The Wolves' goal was like their actual goal was incredible.
Okay, so yeah, it was nice. I'll tell this quick story, but I was preparing dinner because I didn't get to watch it on time. So and we had a lot of stuff going on. My son had a piano recital, and so we get home. It's like 4:15, and I turn the game on. I tell Amanda Hammond to turn the game on, and like 10 minutes into my watch of the game, I get a notification on my watch, and I look at it, and it's quickly a text message from Sean saying Arsenal are ass. And I'm just like, it sent me into the most unbelievable headspin because I thought that we lost the game.
Like, you couldn't say Arsenal are bad, so we could still be monetized here, bro.
No, it's a factual story, so I had to tell it the way it came through. I was in such a bad mood.
But it was a question mark. It was a question mark.
Well, I didn't see the quotation. I didn't see the punctuation because I quickly threw my watch across the room. I didn't actually. But I quickly got rid of that notification and chastised myself for looking at notifications when I didn't know the results to a sporting event that I was currently watching. But so when Arsenal scored, I was just like, we're going to lose this game. Somehow we are up a goal against Wolves at home, and we're going to lose this game. And then Wolves scored in the 90th minute, and I just lost it. I was so mad. And Amanda already knew the results because she needs to gauge the mental state of her husband. And so I was just so unbelievably morose. And then we scored, and I was still morose. And so yeah, Arsenal looked terrible. We didn't create much of anything. Like, we had a lot of opportunities. So I want to take that back because we did have a lot of shots. We clearly dominated possession, but it's the age-old issue that Arsenal were having is breaking down the low block. It was a nasty 10 men behind the ball by Wolves, and they were very good at it. And I looked at Amanda at one point, especially after Arsenal scored, and I said, I feel bad for Wolves because they were executing their game plan perfectly, and they got done in by an own goal. And it's like, it's the most unfortunate manner of own goal where the goalkeeper saves the cross, the corner cross off of the
Goes
the
off the
post and then
post
hits
and
him in
then
the
off
back
the
of
back
the
of
head.
his head.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the most unfortunate way to concede an own goal.
To be fair, I texted that when it was 0-0 in the
I know.
55th minute.
Yeah, I checked
Like,
the math.
I just was like, yeah, you guys are trash because you haven't. It's not 4-0 right
Yes,
now. You guys are just trash.
we needed a good 4-0. But yeah, we played terribly. We did what we could, but then the way that they conceded the goal, just kind of like letting off the pressure and not just like, it's the same thing that happened against Aston Villa when Aston Villa scored at the death. Is that they didn't do enough to just get rid of the ball, just send it into row double G, or send it down to the other side of the, like, get rid of the ball sometimes. And Arsenal just failed to control their final third in that moment. And it was frustrating. Clearly, I'm happy we won. The most important thing is 3 points in the bag. And so, yes, I'm happy we won, but that display of what Arsenal provided on Saturday cannot be seen again if Arsenal want to win the league. And if they play like that again, they're not going to win the league. And so it's just simple as that. And so it was a bad game. Somehow they found a way to win it. And so, yeah, Wolves scored 3 goals and Arsenal get all 3 points. I'll take it.
That's fair. Hey, before you get us out of here, James, shout out to Tom Wilkinson, putting a comment on our latest video. I'm glad we were able to give you the non-biased view between you and your pops. And you know what? I'm happy your side won. So keep us updated on how you and your pops are doing between the Newcastle Sunderland rivalry here. And yeah, keep watching. Appreciate the shout out in the comment.
Yeah. Well, if you want to contact and communicate with us, clearly you can do that in the YouTube comments or the comments on Spotify, but you can hit us up on social media. Brad is at KSBradG. Sean is at Whiteheart_Sean. Joel is at JoelFindley16. I don't know how readily available you are on Twitter, Joel, but you've got one.
I'm there.
Okay. And I am
AC in a couple months' time.
and I'm at James Tiffany. Collectively, we can be reached at redcard_radio. Turn on the Carabao Cup. It's, you're midway through the first half at this point in the Carabao Cup, but watch it. It's already 3-0 is what Joel is saying. It's 3-0 to Newcastle. I hope that's the case. That would be an incredible prognostication. But we'll be back on Friday with a preview of round 17, Newcastle-Chelsea. It's another reason why Joel's here this week. Check back for that. We will be back on Friday, and have a good one.